Hey everyone, welcome. I'm at George Washington's house. It's called Mount Vernon, right outside of DC. This is so beautiful. And let me just show you kind of some of the outbuildings and how beautiful this looks. In the distance, there are longhorn sheep, turkeys. In fact, let's go and check out one of these turkeys. Oh, wow. Now they're supposed to be very mean. I think they're a little bit shy. Let's take a look at this guy. The turkey was almost going to be the national bird. Thankfully, they changed it to the bald eagle.
There's two. Look at two. No, look in there.
So this is, again, ooh, okay. They're not friendly. Not friendly, apparently.
Hey, sing the song. La, 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 la.
So this is a massive plantation. Let's not make any misconception. In fact, and let me show you. Oh, great. In fact, I was at Jefferson's house yesterday, which is called Monticello, and I was really struggling with the fact that here we have a man that wrote the Declaration of Independence and helped pen the Constitution, and yet was a slave owner. I had a pretty difficult time with that. I understand it was the late 1800s, I get that, but still. Now, the positive note here with Washington, who did stay with his army for the entire 8 years. He wasn't luxuriating here. He was with his army in the trenches for 8 years during the Revolutionary War, roughly 1765 to 1783, somewhere around there. He was with his army up until 1783 and then became the first president. The positive note is that he freed all of his slaves. Now, we're 100 years away from our Civil War. So being a slave owner in the South was not even something that would be considered unusual. In fact, the legacy of slavery throughout the Middle Ages leading up to the 18th century was completely commonplace. However, it doesn't make it any easier for us to grapple with our fellow. It is good to know that yes, indeed, General George Washington did free all 150 slaves. Let's get past that and try to explore Mount Vernon and contemplate that we perfect union. We have a country that is frankly believable. Think of all the revolutions that did not end in democracies. Think of the Russian Revolution, Mexican Revolution, the French Revolution, which not only did not end in democracy, but ended in a series of 4 different wars in what was the first one? 1789, then 1814, 1831, and the final, the Commune, in 1871. They had 3 different constitutions, but most notably the bloodbath of 1892 to 1894, called the Reign of Terror. We can definitely see that their aim for revolution went completely off the rails, and they went from calling for democracy to pulling out their king and queen and executing them along with 40,000 other people. So revolutions are tricky businesses. And a United States of America is actually extraordinary. Just imagine, and let me just walk away, and at the same time, let me show you a little bit more of what you can expect. Again, we're on the outbuildings of this particular place, but there is the Potomac, and I want to show you a little bit of the house. In fact, let's go down to the Potomac. No, I want to show you the house. Let's go to the house. Continuing on with my examination of how revolutions can go completely sideways, we know French, Russian, Mexican, troublesome stars at the heart are striving to have a foundation of civil liberties and our freedoms, which in the face of authoritarianism, fascism, communism, even the theocracies of today, is these democracies are not expanding. They are contracting worldwide, I think, unfortunately. And we're the only ones that you have the right to protest. Freedom of religion, the freedom to have a government that doesn't impose any religion. These things are extraordinary in this particular time, in my opinion. But also, could you imagine, oh, could you imagine if South America, sorry about all the people, could you imagine if South America or Africa could have had a United States of Africa? Instead of 54 separate countries, could you imagine, oh, and let's just look at the Potomac in back of me. That is his house, George Washington's house. Could you imagine if there was a United States of Africa? Could you imagine the power, the GDP they would pull in? How about the United States of South America? That would be incredible. But instead of having these United States, they have a continent with separate countries. We have a part of a continent that is all while acknowledging state power, while acknowledging the Congress and the House of Representatives, which is the power of the people. There is nothing like it. And judging from what's going on in the world, I'm not sure if we're going to see this happen again. So I'm here to celebrate and learn more about the wonderful founding fathers while also acknowledging some of the problems. Now let me just show you, and I see you guys have comments. I'm going to take a look right now. Thank you so much. Okay. That is Mount Vernon. What we can't see are wonderful. Wait, this woman is so loud. Let me get away from her. What we can't see are wonderful rocking chairs that sat out on that. This is the Potomac. So here are the questions that I'm getting so far. Where is this? We are at Mount Vernon, which is George Washington's house. This is outside of Washington, D.C. Am I married? No, I'm not. I'm blushing. I'm probably hot. It is humid and incredibly hot in Washington, D.C. I'm from Los Angeles. This is crazy. Slaves or no slaves, what do you go for? I'm grappling with the fact, I was at Monticello yesterday at Jefferson's Place, and it's really difficult to read about we the people and, you know, all this unity and all this equality, and it wasn't extended to many different populations. We had indentured servants, we had slaves. Look at the way our Native American people were being treated, but of course, really the focus that I would say is after the writing of the Constitution, to continue having slavery in this country. As a history teacher, that is so difficult to try to comprehend. On a positive note, Washington did free his slaves, and we're talking about the 1780s, 1790s. This wasn't considered unusual or considered, you know, this was the South, this was part of their economy. And we're 100 years away from a civil war. I think the Civil War should have happened. I think that it should have taken place during the writing of the Constitution, and we should have settled it right then and there. That's kind of my problem. I don't know why it wasn't settled in the writing of the Constitution. Trump or Biden? Oh boy. I'll let you try to figure that out. What we're going to do though is we're going to take one more look at, this is Mount Vernon. There are rocking chairs that we can't see. This is the Potomac, and